Hello and welcome to the City Manager's Report. I'm Jill Fraley, joined by City Manager of Pikeville, Donovan Blackburn. As always, we get together to discuss some great things going on in our community. We're going to discuss a lot today coming up. We're going to continue talking about our wastewater treatment plant project that is on everyone's mind. Plus, we're going to talk about the second largest event held in the state, second largest festival, which will be Hillbilly Days, coming up beginning on the 18th, is that right? April 18th.
Correct. It'll be here before you know it.
It will be.
And we're excited about it.
Yeah, we are excited. Brad Hall's going to join us in just a little
Absolutely.
bit to give us the rundown. We've called him the Master of Hillbilly Days. That's what I've dubbed him as. So he will be here to talk to us about a lot of different things going on, some new things we can expect this year, and some old traditions that we all love to hear about and look forward to. But first of all, let's talk about updating on our project that we've talked about for weeks now. And this is the Pikeville Wastewater Plant Project. So go ahead and update us.
Okay, well, I'll try to get through this fairly quickly, Jill. I know this isn't an issue that a lot of people are excited about, but it is an issue of importance because it does set the stage for the city's growth. And yesterday, and I know we're airing on, I can't remember, today's Thursday.
6th.
The 6th, okay. Yesterday, Congressman Hal Rogers was here along with Colonel Peterson, who is the Colonel of the Army Corps of Engineers out of the Huntington District. They came and presented the city with a $750,000 check yesterday, which we were more than happy to receive.
Absolutely.
And the purpose of that check is to assist the city moving forward with the sewer plant design. I would be remiss, absolutely, there's been a lot of discussion in the community over our coal severance line items, and of course the budget is final, waiting for the governor to hopefully sign off on it soon. But with that said, our legislators, Senator Jones and Representative Combs, also added $250,000 in our line item for this design to make up the match that was needed. So between the great work of Hal Rogers and again our representatives, we have the $1 million that are necessary in order to conduct the actual design of this plant. And the reason I bring that up and why it's so important is that this is dollars that won't have to be added to somebody's bill. These are dollars that our taxpayers don't have to pay for. These are dollars that have been able to come back to our community. And it is a significant issue, and again, it's nothing to really how to get excited about, but understanding that our plant is at 92% capacity right now. And I've had since our shows, I've had a lot of question in the community as of how did we get there, and a lot of it is through growth, which I'm going to cover fairly briefly because I want to get to the exciting stuff here in a minute about Hillbilly Days. But with that, we currently have a 2 million gallon plant. If you look on the slide, it's being shown to you right now. We have a 2 million gallon capacity plant per day. In 2005, we were at 940,000 gallons, which is about almost half of the usage. Well, the city of Pikeville added the Mossy Bottom sewer system, which added 220,000 gallons of usage per day on. So that was the addition of Coal Run all the way to the Floyd County line, including the new addition at Cowpen. So all that area there only added $220,000 to the capacity. But at the same time, the city was working with UMG with what we call an I&I problem. It's a stormwater that's put into the sewer system. That took off 100,000 gallons. So our net gain after Mossy Bottom was added and after the I&I was taken off was we were back at the $1 million range. We were at 1,060,000 gallons. New line extensions since 2005 going forward, the City Commission has been very aggressive in securing grants. They've added about $15 million worth of new line extensions through various grants, and those new line extensions have equated out to about 331,000 gallons. And then our growth, and that's where the majority of what we've seen has added 480,000 gallons. So again, when you take the original 1 million gallons and then you add on the 331 and the 480, that equates out to the 1,850,000 gallons of usage, which puts us at 92%. Now, as we've discussed in previous shows, we have some very large facilities getting ready to go live. We have the hospital, we have the judicial center, the new medical school, we've got the new library that's being built, we've got the new hotel that's going to start its construction, we've got a new retail development that we're working on. So all these larger facilities aren't in the system yet. And why does that concern us and why is that important is the next slide. I went back and we took the 19 largest businesses that we have, which is on your show, and we went back, or on the slide, I'm sorry. We went back from 2007 forward, from 2007 to 2011. These 19 businesses alone in growth has created 371,000 gallons in additional use from 2007 forward. So when you look at the growth that I just showed you, out of almost 500,000 gallons of that total growth that we had in growth, 371,000 of that came from these 19 businesses that are showing up on your slide. And again, these are businesses like the Pikeville Medical Center, the university. One unique one that I have highlighted up there is actually the county jail, which is in the judicial building, the current justice building now. That alone increased from 2007 forward because they did an expansion, first of all, but it increased by 265%, 118,000 gallons a day from 2007 forward come from that project alone. So as you can see, as the city continues to grow, sewer is a very important part of this. And the reason that we're mentioning it time and time again, while it's not going to leave the press for a while, is because it's a very costly venture. We're talking probably realistically, somewhere between probably $12 to $15 million investment over probably a 20 or 30 year cycle. Those are the things that we're working on now. I'll show you in a moment, though, as people get kind of excited when you're talking about those kind of dollars, as well they should be. But I can tell you, Mayor Justice under his leadership, and Mayor Justice, Frankie does an absolutely phenomenal job, Jill, in a lot of different facets. I mean, this commission is very cohesive. They understand. They agree to disagree. They work in unison with each other. And I cannot say enough good about why we have this growth. And on your slide right now, there is, I think it was 92 businesses that have been created since 2005 forward that equated out to that growth, creating thousands of new jobs. And new housing developments, but it's again through that working together. But the reason that I bring the mayor's name up now is because what he has done, he takes his fiduciary responsibility very, very seriously. And the mayor is not only my mayor, as I call him, but he's also one of my best friends. I think the man hung the moon because he does a lot of other things that he doesn't get recognition, and he's the most least egotistical person I've ever met in my life. He is so humble, it is unbelievable. He does not like the spotlight, but he is a visionary. He works very hard. He's got great leadership ability. But he was the one that, when we were looking at this system, we were looking at doing what they call an IFAS system. The problem with an IFAS system is it limits our ability based upon our current site. We have a 2 million gallon capacity plant that the maximum we can ever get out of it using the same technology is 4 million gallon. So by going and borrowing or bonding and getting various grants for a facility that that after you double the size that you're at capacity was a concern. So he kept saying, no, we need to look, no, we need to look. And by having that mentality, he done a great job, which forced our hand to go out and work a little bit harder. And we found this nice new system called a membrane system. And what the membrane system does is that allows us to add, to take our existing 2 million gallon plant, instead of 4 million gallons, we can take it all the way up to 7 million gallons. So now you've got a plant that can take care of the needs for the next 30 to 40 years, which is a major important part of that. And I want people to really think about that when you keep hearing these numbers, because what that enables us to do is to bond it out further, because the life of the plant is further. And again, quickly, the city has the average, well, I won't say the city, but the state's average sewer rate, and we covered this before, is based on 5,000 gallons of usage, and it's at $32.25. The citizens of Pikeville right now, again, because of this commission, has kept their rates relatively low on 5,000 gallons. We're the 26th least expensive utilities in the state of sewer at 20. It's the average price, well, not the average, but the cost is $20 a month. And again, the slide on your screen shows out of the 246 plants that was surveyed, the city of Pikeville is the 26th lowest. If you look at the CPI index, just from 1995 forward, we should be at 2210. That doesn't count a lot of the things that we've seen increases in, such as chemical and power cost and all those other things. So I bring all this up to lead to this very important slide. And again, if you're looking at this slide, you're seeing 6 different types of systems that we're looking at. And you can see the price range, anywhere from $15 million up to $21 million. But on the next to the last slide, if you look at the IFAS, it's the number 2 item down, which is ranked number 1. That system, based upon those dollars, $15 million, projecting out of how we can bond it, would equate out to no additional cost, according to our engineers, no additional cost to the user. So in other words, our rates don't have to increase based upon bonding it out and the grants that we know that we're going to receive. If you look at a membrane system and an $18 million system, it equates out to an additional $6 per customer. However, what we have found is that we don't have to go all the way up to 4 million gallons with a membrane system. You can go to 3 million gallons. So it makes it, instead of 4, which makes it more affordable. So there's a lot of things that this commission is working on right now that will make this system extremely affordable. You're going to be hearing a lot about it. I want to take a few minutes to kind of explain it. A picture on your screen is what the MainBrain system looks like. I know, again, unless you're into engineering, it's not going to mean a whole lot to you, but it is important. It's important for people to understand how their dollars are being spent, but it's more important for you to understand that this commission for the last 6 months have really studied this, has really worked hard, and the mayor has really pushed me over the past several months, myself, UMG, and our engineers, to get where we need to be. So we're very excited about what's going to happen, and I think the citizens will be happy to know where we're heading.
Well, that's one of the great things that we do, is to inform them correctly about what's happening and what's going on. And that's what that you've done here today with all the slides. So very informative information.
Went through it fairly quickly, but it's important. Now let's talk about some fun.
Do you want to talk about some fun? We have a lot of things coming up. Expo Center coming up this weekend.
Yes.
We have the Barnum Bash, I believe that it's called. That is the circus going on. You see there on your screen starts at, actually today, the day we're taping, it is the 5th. I said the 6th, but it's the 5th. Then you have the Drillers at Home, the 15th, 21st, and 28th. Sugarland. Hello, Friday the 13th. That's coming up. And one thing that it's right smack in the middle of Hillbilly Days will be the Eric Church concert coming to the Expo Center.
Again, I just compliment the commission for their vision, and the Expo Center SMG for the great job. Again, the usage of the facility has gone up unbelievably. We're getting a lot of great acts in here. Some of the names you'll see every year, and that's by design. I mean, again, growing up, we went to the circus every year. So these are events that our folks don't have to travel to now. They're here in our community. We're excited about them. Having an event during Hillbilly Days adds some additional flavor to it. But there's a lot of things going on during Hillbilly Days this year, Jill.
There is, and Brad will be joining us in just a few moments to talk about it. One of the things that he will talk about and make reference to, the Shriners that put on such a wonderful festival, or that come into our festival every year, the Hillbilly Day Clans. You're going to be able to participate in pancake breakfast. There is a kickoff dinner. They are having a beauty pageant, a cakewalk, all sorts of different things. And we will be able to see those on the screen here in just a little bit. But they do a lot of things that people don't realize to get ready for this event. I know we just have a little bit of time before Brad comes, but talk quickly about what the Shriners do.
Well, the Shriners do a lot of things all over town. They have if you haven't been to the Shriners breakfast at the Masonic Hall, it's my favorite thing to do, because you get some country cooking, and but their participation is known throughout the whole festival. So we want Brad. We want him to sit down, and he's going to be on in just a second. We're going to let him talk about all the wonderful things going on. We're real excited about it, and I'm going to leave it up to him.
He will be joining us in just a few moments after the break, of course. Don't forget, I will tell you, hillbillydays.com is where he's going to push everybody to go to, because it's a great website. So if you want to look at that. But again, if you see a Shriner in our community coming up in the next couple of weeks, or you see a member of the Hillbilly Day Clan that are making their way, and they come a little bit early every year, thank them for their service and what they do, because the money that's raised over Hillbilly Days goes to a wonderful cause that helps the children of the Shriners Hospital.
It's a wonderful event.
When we come back, President and CEO Brad Hall of the Southeast Kentucky Chamber of Commerce will join us. Stay right there. And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Jill Fraley, along with Donovan Blackburn, City Manager of the City of Pikeville, and joined by Mr. Brad Hall, that I have now dubbed officially the Master of Hillbilly Days. Welcome to our show.
A title well deserved.
I know.
Glad to be here.
He is one of the hardest working men I know right now, because Hillbilly Days, just days away, and we have so much to talk about where Hillbilly Days is concerned. It's the second largest event held in the state of Kentucky, next to the, I want to call it the Kentucky Derby Festival, but it's actually Thunder Over Louisville. Just an amazing weekend, 4 days, 3 or 4 days of lots of people, lots of food, lots of fun, and you're going to give us the information that we need.
Absolutely.
Right?
Everything you ever needed to know about Hillbilly Days Festival.
Like I said, you're the master of the Hillbilly Days Festival. No, really, you've been doing this for years, though, and do such a wonderful job. Donovan and I spoke on our last show about the fact that you start planning for Hillbilly Days the day after this festival is over, and maybe even before.
Absolutely.
So walk us through a little bit about what's going to happen this year, and then we'll pinpoint some key things.
Well, it's, again, I have been doing this for several years, Jill. It's, and it's an honor to be associated with a festival that we call a festival that has a heart. Mm-hmm. Because, this is about sponsoring the Children's Hospital in Lexington, the Shriners Hospital, and helping that very important piece of care for children in Eastern Kentucky. And so that's why we're here, but we have a lot of fun while we do it.
We certainly do. We certainly do.
And so this year is no different than last year. We always say next year is going to be a record crowd, and I believe this year will be a new record crowd. It just continues to grow, and there's so many people that work together to create this festival that really just brings so many people to the heart of Eastern Kentucky. And
for people who may be watching our show for the first time and who may not know a lot about Hillbilly Days and how it got started and the goal and the mission behind it, can you tell us a little bit about how it got started? And when we say the money goes to a great cause, it really does go to a fantastic cause.
It really does. You know, a couple of gentlemen, in, I guess it's 1977, got together and a couple of Shriners wanted to put together a festival in this area. And they worked diligently to do that and started, it just grew so fast that they couldn't manage the festival. Mm-hmm. It started out, we've always had it in April since its inception. It's been in the second or third week of April. And they started in 1977, just a very small, quaint festival, a nice little celebration, and within just a few years, it had grown beyond their ability to manage the festival. And so they started seeking partners and how can we manage this, who can help us, and they sought out the Chamber of Commerce. And so that's how we got plugged in the mid-early 80s. The Chamber got plugged into working with the Shriners and working with the city and working with the county to create this festival that it's become today, that it's just a big, big undertaking. And so we'll expect, somewhere between 120 to 150,000 people in these 3-4 days in a couple of weeks. That'll converge on this small town of 7,000 people and make it a mecca of Eastern Kentucky during that time.
It really does. I remember my very first Hillbilly Days was probably around 1997, 98-ish. And I had heard about it for years and had never gotten to attend. And finally came, and it absolutely blew me away because it is literally from one end where the city starts to the other, just about downtown. It's amazing. How many vendors are we looking at this year?
This year we have slated 300 vendors to be on the streets. And it goes almost in a U shape through downtown, but we veer off a couple of places here or there. But 300 vendors downtown, and it's pretty significant. And that's really the Chamber's main role in the festival is getting those vendors here, bringing them in an organized fashion. We'll have 60 to 75 business people in Eastern Kentucky, our Chamber members, that'll be on the streets volunteering to help place these vendors on Wednesday before the festival. So it just doesn't magically happen. We have a lot of people, and we've got business people that have been doing this for 20 years. They love it.
Now, Donovan and I spoke the last time about how intricately planned getting the vendors into the downtown area works. You were saying, and I know I pass them because I live closer to the YMCA, they line up that way in 2 different lines and come in. So talk a little bit about what the city has to do to prepare for this type of onset of vendors.
Well, it's as Brad said, and I thought it was very important and very fitting, Jill, to have Brad on as our guest today. Because of the importance that the Chamber plays. I mean, not only, as you just mentioned, working all year round, and these are a lot of business communities, and I think we talked about on the last show, these are volunteers that show up, that have a heart in their community, that understand the significance of it. But, we've got a great relationship. The board is made up of 4 different members. There's actually 8 people on the board, but it's actually 4 different organizations. It's the county, the city, the Chamber, and the Hillbilly Day Clan. And the role that the city plays, and more so with the county, is more of a logistic standpoint. We work with the Chamber on Wednesday. They start working a whole lot earlier than that, striping the streets and getting the utility poles set up and a lot of other things that we work hand in hand with them on. But then after that, the city comes in and we shut down the areas at Cedar and different areas in the city, Huffman Avenue, in order to get the traffic in and out of the city. And as you just mentioned, traffic actually comes in. They bring them in 3 different ways, actually 4 different ways. You bring them both sides of the boulevard. You bring them from the Combs Bridge, and you bring them across Huffman on the other side of the bypass. So they come in 4 different ways, and they all emerge at one time. And these, and I know they don't want a lot of people downtown, but if you haven't seen it, it's really amazing of how well that they orchestrated. But they've had years of practice. Yeah,
it wasn't so smooth many years ago.
and I've seen it a couple of years to where you still have some hang-ups because you know, the chamber, the volunteers do a great job, but people still get impatient. They want to get the vendors. It's not the folks that are volunteering. You know, they get a little impatient. They want to get in their spot quicker so they can get set up because it's about making, you know, money to them the next day. And we've seen some I won't say battle royales at times, but it's been interesting downtown.
Well, they want their spots. You know, I know they're assigned spaces, but for people who attend the festival every year, you know where your vendors that you go to everywhere are. We spoke about that too. Specific food vendors that you know you hit immediately when you get into town. But the great thing is that we have new vendors that come in every year to the festival, and is just causing it to get larger and larger and larger. We
do, and it's a real hard juggle, you know, for us because we try to bring in new vendors. We try to keep our staple vendors that we call, you know, the ones that you just talked about. I go every year to this vendor, and then we also make room to make sure that we have local vendors in the festivals as well. So we try to balance that as much as possible so that you have a good festival, a good mix of vendors at the end of the day. And I think we do a pretty decent job of that. And unfortunately, we turn away 50 to 75 vendors every year because we just don't have any more space to put them.
Unbelievable.
So it's a very popular festival. And especially the vendors that are not from here, they work a circuit. You know, they'll start here, and usually this is the first festival of their year, and they will go from here to all over the United States, going to different festivals, doing the same thing that they do here. So this is their job. This is their place that they fit in, and they do a great job at it. And so they know that Kibbley Days kind of kicks off the festival season every year for the United States, practically. Yeah. And so it's kind of cool to be that and see those vendors come here, set up, and start on their path to see the rest of the United States. It's kind of fun.
How hard is it, Brad, to accommodate all of those vendors with electricity, water, ice if they need it? I know we talked before we started taping about one of the exhibits, I guess you could call it, that's coming in that you had to actually move because you didn't have the appropriate power source for it. How hard is it to accommodate all of those people?
Well, you know, early on in the years it was really difficult. But American Electric Power, Kentucky Power has always been so accommodating to help us, and they really provide a lot of community service and volunteer hours from their staff and their people to help us with this festival. But we learned a lot of things through the years, and so when we did the Renaissance Project and did a lot of the underground power, we kind of thought ahead and said, hey, you know, we've got this big festival. Let's put some of this power underground and have access points so that this will be much easier in the future. And so the city worked hand in hand with us along with the Renaissance Board and all those volunteers to help us get that designed and get that done. And so now today, it's a whole lot easier than it was 15 years ago, to say the least.
And it has evolved. You know, Jill, I've been doing this since 2002, and you know, and I get tickled with Brad because I could give him a little way to go now when we work through this festival, because when I first started in 04, he was a street captain at that time, and now and to see him involved into the head honcho and have to put up with all the pressures that goes through these days has been fun to watch. But and we've had our debacles over the years, and you look at again in 04, before we had these nice breaker boxes that you see these stations set up, and before it was basically these poles that or 2x4s went in the ground or 4x4s went in the ground with these little plug-ins on them. So now it's a very safe environment. They've had electrical folks that they worked with over the years, and it continues to evolve. You know, understanding again in 2004, the festival was just on Main Street, the Riverfield, and in the city park. And since that time, it's grown to the boulevard. The parade has gotten so large that it went from going downtown now to going onto again the boulevard and looping on 23 and coming back. So the event itself not only evolved from how they have it placed, and they've done a magnificent job at putting certain vendors in certain locations, creating, as when we sat down and talked about the planning effect, Brad, several years ago, it was creating what we call a mall effect. You know, you got your anchor stores, you know, you got your Pepsis and several others. I'll leave several out if I go down that road. But you've got the bigger attractions at different points. It scatters the crowd out. So there has been a lot of thought and a lot of planning. And you know, you talked early on at the onset about all the things that the chamber does throughout the year, and I think people would be amazed. I know I was amazed. You know, we handle logistical standpoint from the city standpoint, of which you asked a moment ago, is that we come into usually around January and we'll start doing these meetings and we'll start talking about where we're going. And then, you know, it's simple for us to work out, you know, ordering the signs and ordering the fireworks and doing all those things to get logistically ready. the chamber and their volunteers and their staff start on it and do a whole lot of things way before we get to that logistical standpoint. So it's understand that taking on the second largest festival in the state in this little old town of Pikeville is a major event. But I'll share. And I know people want to hear about what's going on, but you were talking about your first memories, and I think that's what's important about festivals such as this, Brad, is because we create our memories, from our youth forward, and everybody's got a story to share during Hillbilly Days. And I remember the first Hillbilly Days, I was in elementary school, and I got pulled out of my class, didn't know what for. I was, I think, in the 5th or 6th grade, and my teacher had selected me to walk in the parade. And my mother had to, we were a poor family, we didn't have great means, so she went down and got a sewing package and sewed a Daniel Boone costume for me. So I kept that Daniel Boone costume all the way through high school. I remember it being in this box because it was a great sense of pride.
Do you still have it?
I don't wear it anymore.
I'd like to see that.
I did. Well,
Yeah, I would too.
There's certain nights you might be scared if
We
you're
don't need to go
running. No, that's a later story. But we have, my family, as a lot of families during the era, we had Super 8 video, and actually my mother kept it for years, and after her passing, I got all the videos. My wife has transferred that to DVD now, and I come to find out I've got a 1970 some video of Hillbilly Days down in the city park when the old grease pole was there, and they used to put the $100 on the top and watch the 20 or 30 people trying to climb to the top of the pole. So to see what it was and what it has become today, which is a well-oiled, sophisticated event that not only caters to a great organization, but does a lot for this community.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned that everybody wants to know what's going on, so let's just get right to it. We have a list of things. Now, you can pick up, before we even get started, there are brochures, aren't there, around town in different locations that will give an agenda of everything that's going on.
There is. The brochures are there, and then also www.hillbillydays.com, and you can see all the information on our website as well.
So go ahead and check that out, too.
Well, it's the Pike County Tourism that puts the flyer together, the Hillbilly Days?
Yes, Pike County Tourism creates the flyer and does all the artwork for that. And you'll see some commercials on the various media outlets through town. And those are done by the Pike County Tourism as well.
They do a great
and
job.
then Lightyear does our website for Hillbilly Days, and that's at www.hillbillydays.com. Can't stress that enough because you can register for the parade on the site there. You can register for other events, and you can also see what's happening.
Right. Okay, so let's start with the agenda. First day, that is the 19th in the evening, the official welcoming ceremony. But now Thursday morning, you can also go around town, visit the vendors. There's a particular place that has cinnamon rolls that's pretty good. It starts early in the morning, and then you go to...
We know where all those spots are, don't we, Jill?
We know all those spots, and I'll be doing that early in the morning.
The vendors open up at 10 a.m.
Okay,
on Thursday morning.
Well, and I'm going to put Brad on the spot a little bit because he spoke a moment ago about the website. And in preparation for this today's taping, I wanted Brad to expand on a lot of the things that's going on in the festival. So actually, a lot of what you're going to see today, I pulled off their website. So
okay.
These are items that's available on the website that I'm sure Brad can give a little bit, and they are in a little order, but not in probably the order that they need to be in. But one of the things, of course, is, as you just mentioned, is the welcoming ceremony. So and that will be. Brad, I forgot what time it was. It's
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock on Thursday afternoon.
Which is the official opening of the event. Now, the event actually, as Brad said, opens up at usually 10 o'clock is when the vendors will set up, and the carnival's already in play. But the actual opening ceremony, to where they bring the county judge and the mayor and all the political folks will show up for their speech. And then also that each year they present various keys to the city and various acknowledgement awards to various members of the Hillbilly Clan. So it's a great event as a kickoff. There's a lot of discussions about what this event is for, so we definitely like for the community to show up.
And that's in the city park, and everyone's welcome. And it's great to see because you'll hear a little bit of that history from the Hillbilly Clan on why we're here, why they're doing this, and see some of that feel-good stuff that really the festival is at the heart
and when
of.
you talk about the Hillbilly Clan, too, a lot of people may not know, this is not just people from this area. This is a very expansive group of people that are from all over that will come here this year for Hillbilly Days, because you have them listed there, and I was just thinking we needed to mention that because it's not just local people.
That's right.
You know, from the
Well,
festival.
you have
It's
a
large
local
group.
clan that kind of does the local planning for the event
Mm-hmm.
and for all the Shriners events. And then you've got clans and groups from all over the United States, as far as Washington State back,
Mm-hmm.
that come to this event. In fact, we have some that come from Canada that are really interested
Really?
to meet. So
Well,
Interesting.
It's the festival obviously is centered around downtown, and then for years the Hillbilly Clan holds their. Well, I say there. I'm a member of. I'm a Shriner. I'm a member of the Hillbilly Clan as well. And
Now, let me stop you right there just
Go
for a
ahead.
minute. If you're a member of the Hillbilly Clan, and I know Shriner, but a member of the clan, do you dress up too in your best hillbilly garb?
I have.
That's a fair question, is it not,
that's a
Brad?
fair question.
I
Are
do,
you going
and I
to?
have. Well, it depends on the day of the event and where I'm supposed. You put me
What
on
you
the spot.
have to
Jill. I
do,
love
where
how
you have to be. I know, I got you. But no,
Let's,
it is.
and moving on. Go
Moving
ahead.
right along, the carnival. Now, it normally gets underway on Wednesday night. I know a lot of people go down there
Yes.
on Wednesday evening. When is it officially open?
It will open at 5:30, I believe, or 6 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
And that will, there's actually a coupon out there you can get off the website, $5 off that night. And that's kind of the kickoff of the carnival. And we've got 35 rides scheduled to be here this year. So should be a great showing of rides. A very reputable company, Gold Medal Shows, that is part of this, and they're kind of the production crew that comes in, sets up the carnival and gets that underway. Very reputable group, very safe. You know, I
Very
can't
clean.
remember in my tenure any incidents or accidents or injuries that have occurred.
Right.
So I think we have a very reputable company that comes in and manages it well. And it's just a great thing. We've got 35 rides, and we've got some new ones this year too. So
What
make
is
sure
the
you check that
location
out.
of that?
It's down in the Riverfield by the movie theater.
Okay. All right. Opens on Wednesday night. Next, fireworks at dark. Now, is this something new, or has this gone on for years? And I
It's
just
gone
didn't know
for
about
quite
it.
a few years.
It's gone on for about 6 years now.
Really?
Yeah, this was an ideal that, again, just sitting around the committee that said, what could we do to heighten, again, do more? And when I say that, it's gone off and on for years, because there was some years I think that they didn't do it. And then we came back with a sponsor, and Appalachian Wireless for the last several years has been our corporate sponsor for the fireworks. So they pay for all the fireworks, which is we really appreciate it, because it doesn't put a hamper
Wonderful
on
friend of
the
the
event.
community.
And then the city and the county, we go in half and we pay the insurance for the event. And then the Pikeville Fire Department, actually, they're the ones that shoot the fireworks off. They're trained in I'm trying to think of the pyrotechnics to be able
They're
to shoot.
trained.
Yeah, they're trained. That's all I know is that they're
They are certified
thank
and
goodness that
trained.
they're here.
Yeah, that's
And they
true.
do a good job.
That's another great thing. And you can, if you're downtown, you can see that from anywhere downtown,
Yeah.
right?
you can.
Okay.
You can hear it too.
Music on the courthouse square. This is one of my favorite things that we have at Hillbilly Days, because it's constant. It's like American Idol constantly, over and over and over again, because we have so many local people that participate in the music that we have. Can you talk about some of the groups that might be performing this year?
Well, I don't have a strong list of groups here. I've got them here. I could read them off, but most of them, if not all of them, are local. Lots of very talented people come out, show their talent during Hillbilly Days. And, with the different stages throughout the town, you can get a little bit of every kind of music that you can think of.
Right.
Bluegrass is the staple of the event, but you can get a little bit of rock, you can get a little bit of country, you can get a little bit of everything. And the courthouse stage has been there for years. Kevin Prater kind of manages that stage and has done a great job. And if you don't know Kevin Prater, he's a fabulous musician, and him and his friends will be playing over there. You won't want to miss that.
Well, and looking at the schedule, the only time it looks like there's not anyone on there is while the parade is going on Saturday, from between 1:50 to 4 o'clock.
Well, that's their intent, Jill, is to keep, as Brad said, to keep the music flowing and going. And you mentioned, and as we go into the next segment of the Expo Center, that's something that's new this year is the Plaza, having it available. And they've done music on the Plaza, but not in the format that it is now, because we've got a sound system and a stage. And
Stage, right.
and again, you can see the times for those slots also. But whether it's bluegrass or country or the rock or hard rock, it depends on what segment and where you go is what you'll hear. And also Christian music. There's a tremendous variety. And I think I shared with you at our last taping that I was just up in New York and met with the architect firm, of which they're coming during this week. So I've got 4 New Yorkers that I mentioned the word Hillbilly Days, and they got kind of amused, wanting to know what it was, and they decided to stay over an extra day because they wanted to hear bluegrass.
Yeah.
They don't get enough of it, and there one of the gentlemen that's up there is a major fan of it. So, and then if you look at some of the members of the Hillbilly Clan. Some of the folks that come here year in and year out, a lot of the northern mentality, and they like coming down because it's good, clean, wholesome fun. It's a great time. It's outstanding home cooked music, and they don't get that where they're from.
No.
So we're very proud of that heritage.
They definitely do. The Expo Plaza that you talked about, like we do have the stage there, and so there will be groups that will be performing there throughout the evening too, so make sure you check that out too, not just the courthouse but also the Expo Plaza.
That's right.
And then of course the City Park, which I think there we go.
That's courthouse.
It's courthouse. I'll get there.
Elvis live on
Yeah.
stage.
This is
this a new addition?
This is new.
All right,
I had
tell
asked Brad about this yesterday when we talked. I think
Yeah,
it was. I
yeah.
said, "What's the deal with Elvis?"
Well,
So tell us about
we
this.
have getting to be a very famous Elvis impersonator here locally, Dr. Thad Manning. And he has put together a stage. It's going to be near the Methodist Church downtown in their parking lot. And he is going to have a stage this year. So Elvis will be performing at Hillbilly Days this year. And you are not going to want to miss that. And he's got a lot of local talent, a lot of young kids that have a lot of talent that's going to be performing on his
He
stage.
has a daughter that has a voice like you can't believe, and she's
Yes.
what, 11, 12 years old?
And I'm certain you'll get to see her perform
I
on that
guarantee
stage.
you will. I have actually seen his show a couple different times, and he is really, really good. I mean, it's something to
He
see
is.
him. All Day Music in the City Park by Larry Webster. Now, this will be in the gazebo,
That's right.
yes? And that's been there for a while, right?
Well, I think Larry's been doing it from the inception, if
Yes.
I'm not incorrect.
Yeah.
Larry Webster has, and it's just a personal passion of his. He has
Right.
been sponsoring this. He brings in some very, very well-known bluegrass acts from across the nation to kind of headline the gazebo, and then lots of local people get up and play some very, very good bluegrass music. So
They do.
and
I
that's
think
all
that
day long.
one of the neatest things is when you have people bring their lawn chairs
Yes.
and they sit them out in front of the gazebo and they sit there for hours and don't move.
Oh,
They
yes.
might get up and go get something to eat and come straight back.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's a huge testament to the type of good, clean fun and music that we have here, because if you were to sit there all day long and really enjoy it, there's something to be said for that.
Well, we had last year at this time we had the China delegation that was here.
Yes.
And our interpreter happened to stick around with us, and I stayed with my wife and I, and she got to experience. Unfortunately, the rest of the delegation had to leave before it kicked off, but she got to experience Hillbilly Days. And one of the things that I got the most tickled about was using words like getting tickled about. But we went into the park, which kind of flows with what I'm saying. And she had seen all the people sitting around their lounge chairs, to your point, and a group that we're friends with, that we go to church with, invited us over, as they're always in the park, because it's a lot of the same people we see each year. And we went over and introduced her, and they, in our very hospitable way that we are, told her to come back and sit down and sit a spell with her.
She had no idea
she
what you
had
were
no
talking
idea
about.
what they were talking about. So my wife had to interpret as she walked through town what our dialogue was.
Different things meant.
Which was simply amazing. But it is, from an outsider's perspective, she was very interested because they have a couple of festivals in the city of Angkong that they were actually taking pictures and ideals of things that are in our festival
Really?
to take back to China to utilize. So we're world traveled.
That's very neat.
So it's very interesting.
Good.
But and I do want to say, I mean, Brad also mentioned it, but I'll just reiterate a little bit the job that Larry does. Larry is just, he has a foundation that he has set up. It's one way that he gives back to the community. He loves this event. He loves this bluegrass. He stays up there all day and introducing these bands. So he just does. This again was the hub of where this festival started, was in the city park, in and around. And without his devotion, and we don't have to worry about it as part of the committee. We've got enough to worry about the vendors and how the lines are prayed up and one thing and another. And one of the key points, which is of destination, which is the city park, in the music, is solely done by Mr. Webster. So we greatly appreciate his contribution, because again, it's a load off of our plate.
It is.
To have to be concerned about
Absolutely.
it.
And before you switch gears there's one more stage we don't have up there, and that's the Pepsi stage.
I think it's
Pepsi.
in a slide or two.
Oh, is it? Okay, great, because there will be a Pepsi stage too.
Okay. Coca-Cola Hillbilly Days Cornhole Tournament. This started a few years ago, and I have seen this. These people are hardcore
Yes.
cornhole players. I mean,
You
they
don't get in the
really
way.
are.
You know?
So competitive. I've never really seen anything like it, but I love the bottom of your slide there that says no cussing, no spitting, no shooting, and no feuting. We don't allow any of that, but good, clean fun. And like I said, they really get into it. Now, is this something that people have to pre-register for?
They do. They need to register for this, and you can do that by calling the numbers on our website.
Okay.
You can call and register for that. I think you can register at the festival too before the tournament kicks in. But once it's underway, and again, this is one of the things that Coca-Cola does to raise money for the Shrine Club throughout the event. And so your registration, all the proceeds of that goes to the Shriners organization. And so not only are you getting to participate in a fun cornhole tournament, it goes to the good cause, but it's really, really popular. I mean, I know that they had a couple of hundred registrants last year, and I think even the national cornhole champion was by last year to check it out. So.
Wow. All right. So www.hillbillydays.com. Learn how you can sign up, who you need to contact, everything like that. All right.
Now we're at Pepsi.
All right, great.
Pepsi Mountain Dew, tell us about this one.
Well, again, just another stage to round out your musical appetite. Pepsi stage probably has a little more country, a little more rock than some of the other stages, and so you'll get that there, and they're going to have a round of various local talent on that stage throughout the festival, so you won't want to miss that.
Now, where is that going to be located, that one?
That is by the entrance to the parking garage on Hambly Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
We have, Jill, one of the things that the City Hall employees do is that we work different intersections downtown. So we close City Hall will be closed Thursday, Friday, the event. All the City Hall employees work downtown on Saturday. The tax department is open, is the only office that will be open here, and for obvious reasons, April 15th date was there, so people coming in paying their taxes late, we'll be open for that. But one of the areas that I locate our folks is at the parking garage. And we count the parking places so that we don't get a jam log pack in there. So we'll have some of the employees down on Elm Street with a gate, as 10 parking places open, they'll let 10 people on down the street. So again, we don't bottleneck. But it's always a fight to see who gets to that station because it's right next to the Pepsi event. Because the Pepsi event, you get the free T-shirts that they throw out in the crowd, you get the free drinks that they'll offer up to the employees there, and then you get some absolutely outstanding music. So it's always a competition of the folks here who's begging to work that one station.
I can see why.
Whoops, there we go.
Quilt display. This is on Friday and Saturday. Now, we're talking about fabric quilts, right?
Yes.
Because you have the other quilts that go on buildings. Have you? You know what I'm talking about, like on barns and
this
stuff.
is fabric quilts.
Okay, these are fabric quilts, and this is really a lost art almost. I can remember when I was little, my grandmother would quilt things by hand, and it's very tedious, very intense process. And I do think it's a lost art, but I'm so glad to see something like this come to be by the Pike County Quilt Guild and the Pike County Extension Homemakers coming together for this project.
They've been doing this for a few years now. The Extension Office kind of organizes everything, and the displays at the Extension Office, UK Extension Office. And, it's really part of our culture here.
Absolutely.
And it's great to showcase that, especially for those coming from out of town here and be able to go and see that kind of work, because it is kind of a lost art.
It really is.
And we want to preserve that.
Well, and it's off the beaten path of the festival at the Extension Office. I mean, it's right down, obviously, to get to the Extension Office, you go past the Combs Bridge towards where Lightyear is and take a left towards the Pikeville Pond. So they get a lot of traffic. It's a lot of repeat traffic of people that it's known there, and it's advertised well, but people tend to forget about it at times.
Right.
And it is a very worthwhile event to attend and to go and look, because some of the work that these ladies and gentlemen do are absolutely phenomenal. I mean,
is beautiful.
It's breathtaking.
Big event on Saturday.
We're both smiling for a reason, but go ahead.
Yeah. Hopefully the rain's going to hold up. Let me just talk about the picture for a second. And you can see there with our crosswalk and everything, it's amazing to me the number of people that we can get into our downtown area overall just for the event. But for the people who want to see the parade, the visibility still is fantastic because it goes straight down Hambly Boulevard. Again, not a lot of problems, accidents, things of this nature. We're very fortunate, but it's amazing to me the number of people that view that parade.
Well, if you can ask what keeps Chief Atkins up at night, it's probably that parade.
I'll
Because he's
guarantee it.
always concerned for the safety of the people of Pikeville, and very, very glad that we've got someone like him who really is concerned, because he's always worrying about the safety. And this, they do a great job barricading that off, keeping all those people in their safety, because it's dangerous when you get that many people in town and you've got all these vehicles going through, and they do such a great job.
Certainly do.
That's a big event.
If you want to be in the parade or have your group or organization in the parade, you can go online for applications, or you can call the number on your screen, 444-5286. I know that on the Hillbilly Days website, the applications are there. Gives you all the information that you need to know, all the specific things.
Yes.
But if you register on April 11th, $50, and after that, it's $60.
Unless you're a nonprofit, and nonprofits are free. We do not charge
okay.
For nonprofit church groups and other groups, because and this year, I'll forewarning, I guess, will be a busy year because it's a political year. We do have several offices that are running, and usually in political years we get a lot of candidates that understand the power of people, and
Absolutely.
They want to be a part of the parade, which we're more than happy to have them. And then of course the Hillbilly Clan, the Ray Band, and the groups that come out to kick off the parade, and when I say kick it off, they lead it. They're always excited. The kids are always excited. But as Brad said, the chief. Chief Atkins was promoted to the police chief's position, is one of the things that he really wanted to talk to me about was the safety of the parade. Because before, when the parade used to come down Huffman Avenue and then go down, it would go all the way down Main Street and then cut up Scott for a while, and then actually cut across at Pike Street for a while. Trying to manipulate those turns with all these kids rushing in for the candy was a major safety concern. So with the blessing of the commission, we rerouted the parade and brought it down the boulevard. There's a lot, as you can see, there's a lot more room from the standpoint of width. We have the entire police department and fire department that work the parade, and there are different stations to ensure that the kids are safe. And our concern was, candidly speaking, is that an event that celebrated the Shriners Hospital, that a child would end up getting hurt during a parade, and with the tight turns of going down the way that it used to go with these tractor trailers or the tractors themselves, these farm tractors that they pull, had been some close calls in the past. So now you don't have to worry about that. It's become a very wholesome part of the festival, very safe part of the festival, and we have a lot of fun. So the Main Street program actually takes the applications for the festival. That's the number that you just read off. We'll have Jesse Bowling with the city's director of tourism. We'll actually head up the lineup of the parade on Saturday. I've got, I think, 6 other city employees, and then the county sheriff's department will send some folks over, and they'll help with the lineup, and they'll help with the working in hand and making sure all the intersections are shut down. And then we also work with the transportation department, state transportation, on getting our permits and shutting off parts of US 23, because we use the shoulder, and folks will need to be aware that the left-hand lane as you're coming on 23 South will be shifted over to, or the right-hand lane will be closed. Everybody will shift it over to the left in order to again create a safety barrier for all these kids and folks that are marching in the parade, because truly we do end up looping it back. And what has happened in the past is, when I remember when we first started, you would send the parade out, and then when the end of the parade was over, you knew it was the end of the parade. Well, now the parade has become so long that we loop it in the end. When the front of the parade is there, we still got quite a bit of the end of the parade before we're sending. So it's a great event, a lot of great entries, and a lot of fun. But people can register. We invite them to do so. Again, the proceeds go to help the Shriners Hospital. And then the nonprofits, we wanted them to participate and encourage them to be a player too, so there's no cost for them.
Parade starts 2 o'clock on Saturday, but that's not the end.
No.
That's definitely not the end. One of the things that we do sometimes have an issue with is the parking situation, because you try to, like you said, cram 125 to 150,000 people in an area that normally has 7,000 to 8,000 on any given day. That is a problem. So let's talk a little bit about shuttle information, where people can park, because we do a pretty good job, I think, of busing people in and out.
We do. And this year, first, let me just point out, we want to send out a great thanks to Sandy Valley Transportation, because they provide this shuttle service every Hillbilly Days, and they do such a great job of doing that for us. And so we want to send out a big thank you to them for providing the service. We are going to be changing the route a little bit this year. We're going to kind of be circling the outskirts of the festival. We used to come right down 2nd Street and onto College Street, and it's really gotten to be a pretty precarious situation to bring those shuttles through there. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go down the bypass and back up across Combs and go across Scott Avenue and down and up Kentucky Avenue and back out on the other side of the festival. So there will be pickup points and stop points at all points all the way around the festival. So you can park anywhere on the outskirts of town that is legal parking.
Legal parking.
That's right.
And we do want to mention, too, the buses and the trolleys are handicap accessible.
That's right.
So don't think that they're not. I mean, if you require a little bit of assistance, they can accommodate you.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, in this next slide, I know it's a busy slide, and I decided to put it up here because, again, what we want to promote with this festival is safety. And what it represents, obviously, is a lot of fun. Again, the celebration of these Shriners children that have been through a lot of various conditions, and it's a great institution to support. But we also want to get folks to be thinking along the lines of what the rules and regulations are for the festival. And a copy of those rules and regs are on the website that Brad mentioned. But, you know, we have, for example, it's always an issue, and I won't go through all of them. Folks can read them on their own. But a few things that I would like to highlight is one, we love animals, we love pets, but a festival this size is not a place to have, you know, last year we had to turn a couple of pit bulls away. So we asked for people not to bring their animals downtown because it's a very unique position. And if they are, we're going to ask them to please to remove them from the event, because you get 100,000 people around a dog and you don't know what a dog is going to do.
Well, it's as much for it's people's safety and animal safety too.
Safety as well.
You know, there's just a lot of people, and
That's right.
And you know, you never know what's going to happen. No firearms, which would seem to be a given. Just state and local laws as far as drinking things, open containers, that sort of thing.
Well, and then the other important thing, which isn't on here, is part of the setup. And of a festival this size, you're going to have little hiccups here and there. It happens each year. And I'll say this in jest, some idiot, because I'm pointing at myself, decided, 2 years ago, to fly a helicopter down through town. And to get some neat shots. We wanted some overhead shots. So I authorized it. We went up, and who knew that when you fly a helicopter a couple hundred feet up, it creates a downdraft, which will take these tents and flip them actually upside down in the air.
Oh, so you're the one responsible.
So I
for
was the one that caught the flack on that. And poor Brad, It was an interesting couple of hours because they all come looking for him, not for me. But I ended up in the mix and trying to.
I always remember the guy walking in my office with barbecue sauce all over him.
Yes, it wasn't.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't pretty.
No, I'm sure not.
But with it, I make fun because those type of things happen. But one thing I will draw folks' attention to, Jill, is on Wednesday of the event that all vehicles downtown has to be off the streets by 5 p.m. A vehicle that is not off the street by 5 o'clock on Wednesday will be towed. It's not that we want to do that. We absolutely don't. But one vehicle stops the whole flow.
Yes.
Of all these vendors coming in, if we have one vehicle on the street, it stops everything. So we do have signs we put up a couple of days early that tells folks this. The same thing goes for the Riverfield on Sunday night. Come Monday morning, if you're down in the Riverfield, you'll be towed. Now we have those big electric billboards that are down there flashing, don't park your vehicle, but every year we end up
somebody does
towing 5, 6, 7 vehicles, and it's we hate to do that. We hate to put that burden on somebody, but it's been around for a long time. We ask people to please be patient with us and understand the significance of the festival, because literally it's till midnight until the fire department and these guys are going home. Once we get the folks in, which is usually fairly quickly, it starts at 5 o'clock, which they'll start bringing the folks into the parking garage earlier than that, about 10 that morning. But at 5 o'clock, when the gun goes off, as we call it, and everybody comes in, they'll have all downtown pretty much set up by 8 or 9 o'clock. But from 9 o'clock until midnight, these vendors then have to get their power hooked up, their water hooked up. They have to be inspected by the fire marshal. And if one vehicle's in the way, it stops that whole show. So we really ask, we appreciate people's understanding, but we also ask for their understanding from our standpoint of what it does to the festival if it doesn't happen right.
Okay. And of course, like I said, again, all of these rules and regulations that we like to go by are on the Hillbilly Days website that you can go to at any point.
And I don't know what you have next on. I got a couple things.
Well, I think I am at visit the website, and I was going to leave it up to you to talk about whatever else you want to talk about.
Great. Well, just a couple of things I want to point out, and people like new, and so we do have a couple of new things I want to point out. And one is we're going to have a zip line in downtown Pikeville during Hillbilly Days. It's going to be crazy, but you're going to want to check it out. We've got a vendor coming in with a mobile zip line unit. You'll be able to zip 100 foot right in the parking lot, right behind the City Hall, or City of Pikeville Police Department. And it's going to be fun. So you're going to want to check that out. It's really a pretty interesting setup.
Now, have you tried this out yourself to make sure that it's on the up and up?
I've seen videos. We've talked to the vendor. He's a very reputable vendor. Mm-hmm. It's all wonderful equipment. It's very impressive.
Ziplining really has kind of taken over as the thing to do. A few years ago it was bungee jumping and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. This is a little bit more exciting. I told you before, it's on my bucket list. I want to zipline. So this is your
opportunity?
This is my opportunity.
Well, they do have some safety checks they do in the beginning, Jill, so we'd love to have you down. Brad will get you hooked up.
Quality assurance. She can do some quality assurance.
I'm sure. But no, what a great, now I know there will be some rules that you have to follow for that too, as far as age, probably height, weight, all that sort of thing. But what a wonderful attraction to bring into a festival like this.
Well, and we think it'll be fun, and it's right in the heart of all the action. And I think it'll be, some people probably have wanted to try this and haven't had an opportunity. So this is going to be a way to kind of get your feet wet and try it out, and then you can go down to Red River Gorge and do the real stuff if you want to.
That's where I want to go. So maybe I will do this as kind of my, as you said, get your feet wet.
Well, exactly. We went a couple of years ago in Belize and went into the jungle and zip line, and my wife and my two boys had a great time. I watched from the floor up.
So you didn't do it either?
It's heights. Anything around heights, I can't.
Well, we'll see. I may try that out. What else is new this year, Brad?
Now, this is new but not new. This will be the second year we've had him back, but we're bringing in a world record juggler who's kind of a comedic juggler, but yet a fabulous family show that you're going to want to see. His name's Bruce Serafian, and you can check his website out if you want. Very impressive guy. I mean, he juggles knives on a unicycle, and flaming things. It's crazy.
What possesses people to have a career like that? Don't you often wonder?
I don't know, but he loves it, and he really gets the kids involved. He's going to be doing 4 shows a day throughout the festival. This is something we had an idea to try to bring some more family element to the festival, and so a couple of companies stepped up, helped us sponsor bringing him in. Suddenlink and Treadall Innovations are sponsoring the juggler, and he's going to be here and doing free shows 4 times a day throughout the event. And you can check this out. We'll get these up on the website, but he'll be at the Pepsi stage every day at noon, and he'll be at the Elvis stage every day at 4. And so you're going to want to check that out, and then he'll do 2 street shows. So he'll be in various places throughout the festival at 10 and 2 each day. So really impressive guy, and your kids will just absolutely love this because he gets them up, gets them involved, has them hold some things. And if you checked it out last year, you really don't want to miss this again because he's really entertaining. And so we're glad to be able to bring him back this year.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And, and that's what this event is all around, Jill, is about having, as Brad said, and I talk about growing up and being part of the festival. And, there was an era that it wasn't as family oriented. I mean, it was always good music, but I think the Chamber has done an absolutely phenomenal job at bringing more and more events in and making it more of a family attraction. We have very few problems. And I know this isn't something that probably we will get into depth in, but realistically, probably 15, 20 years ago, the police department used to have anywhere between 300 and 40 arrests during an event like this. Now we're lucky if we have 20 or 30, and then you get 100 and some thousand people in town, you're going to have issues.
Right.
It's just human nature, but it's become very protected. The Pikeville Police Department under Chief Atkins' direction, I can't say enough good about because they, all my guys come out and work a 12-hour shift, so we've got half the department out during the day and half the department out in the evening. The fire department, the same thing. We've got stations set up that all these guys come out. and work. So it's a very safe event. We partner with the Sheriff's Department. The state police have some folks downtown. The Sheriff's Department has some folks downtown. They help out with the parade. The county, as I said, the Judge Rutherford's on this board, and from the inception of this festival was when Rutherford was in office, and has played a very pivotal role in its moving forward, and sits on this committee personally. So it's very important to the county. It's very important to the city. It's very important to what it represents, and I know from the city's perspective, we really appreciate all the work, Brad, that you and the chamber do.
Well, thank you.
From the day after the event goes until the very end. So it's a major undertaking.
Well, it is a major undertaking, and it is April 18th, 19th, and 20th this year. You can go to hillbillydays.com and check out all the information that you would need to know. You are getting ready for a big experience, as you do every year, so best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Brad, thanks so much for being with us today.
Everybody come out and enjoy.
And we will. You have been watching the City Manager's Report with Donovan Blackburn. We will see you next time.